Well, excellent. You know, good evening to everybody here in North America. Good morning to everyone down in Australia. You know, my name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick. Everybody calls me Doc Fizz because they don't know how to spell my name. And I think that people expect that there's going to be some kind of an exciting story, but it really goes back to third grade. Nobody could spell my name. And so I got the name Fizz, and then when I got to be a doctor, it was Doc Fizz. So 31 years ago, I graduated from chiropractic college, and I really enjoyed it. I tell you what, there just wasn't a day when I didn't enjoy going to work. You know, a lot of people dread going to work on Monday morning. I was thrilled. I got to meet new people. I got to treat new conditions. It was never the same. I never had a day where I could say that it was boring. 11 years ago, I got in a really horrible motorcycle wreck, and I was in a coma for a couple of days, hospitalized for 2 months, where they wanted to amputate my leg. And then when I refused that, I got out of the hospital. I spent 6 months in bed and nearly 2 years really in and out of a wheelchair. The doctors wouldn't develop a rehab program for me because they just said, you're going to lose your leg no matter what. And using sizzle and using just, I don't know, I call it pure determination. Maybe it's just stupidity. I don't know. But I did my own rehab program, and I can say that I'm walking, you know. And, I've made some mistakes in my life, and I'll tell you, I've made and lost several $1 million. I've had a lot of fun. I mean, obviously I've had a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. And, you start thinking about it. Back in 1986, I almost died out in the Pacific Ocean there by Huntington Beach. And I've been in a hurricane. I've been in blizzards where you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and almost died in a motorcycle wreck. I guess, I'd probably be called a survivor. And a lot of people in life, they just won't take any risks. They won't go out of their comfort zone. They're afraid of the unknown. They're scared of failure. And I know most of you will tell me, in order to be a business person, in order to own your own business and to be an entrepreneur, you kind of need a special personality. And you have to have that personality that says you're not afraid of doing whatever it takes to succeed. And for that, all of you that are on the call and all of you that are listening to the call, that's why you're a winner. And tonight on the call, we're going to hear some stories from some people other than myself, and they're going to explain why Sizzle has made an impact on their lives, and why have they chosen this path. Because really, we're part of a special group of people. I'd say we're special needs people. You know what I mean? We probably have to ride the short bus, but we want to get more out of life than just the 9 to 5. We want to have that feeling of accomplishment, and really, we're not afraid of taking a few challenges and getting knocked down. We've learned that all you got to do is get back up again. And network marketing, it's not for everyone. It might not be the right thing for most people. Maybe it's just not the right time. But we're going to hear from a few people tonight that decided they're going to do it. So first, what I'd like to do is I'm going to run down to Australia. We're going to talk to my friend Sandy. And Sandy's got she's got Jeff, her friend Jeff, on the line. And Jeff is going to share his story, but Sandy, I can't unmute you. It's not letting me unmute you, so hit *6.
Okay.
There you are.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you loud and clear. So, Sandy, I'm gonna just say a little thing about you and Paul. I'll tell you. I went down to Australia this last February, and Paul and Sandy are building a strong organization. They got a beautiful home, and they live up on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. And I know that they got some dreams and they got some goals that are bigger than a lot of people, bigger than, larger than what most people dream about. And And really, when you guys got started in Sizzle, you did it because you needed to save your son's life. And so, Sandy, I'm going to hand it over to you. And just if you want to tell a little bit about your story, why are you here? And then kind of give us an introduction on Jeff and let us hear his story. Over to you.
Thanks, Kurt. My dream is to really help people change their lives with their health because of what happened with our son. That's just a passion I've got now. And you can see, what the products can do for people, and there's just so many people out there you can help. And then just after that, the journey just starts with the money coming in. That's just a bonus with it all. So that's my passion that I want to do, is really help people with their health. So we will see where Jeff, you're on the line. You're unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. So Jeff, just give us a little bit of your background. Tell us what your background is.
Well, I've had a first aid business I've been running for something like about 20 years. Before that, I was a farmer. And before that, I was actually a medical rep for a drug company, or 2 different drug companies. And so I have a bit of an insight into what goes on with drug companies. And a bit scary, really. But anyway, and more recently, we built an aeroplane and we've sold it. And that was quite an experience, quite stressful. And we're really focusing on wanting to create an income through Sizzle so that we can just be independent, more independent, and have a bit more money to enjoy life. And I'm very thankful.
Why Sizzle? So why have you chosen Sizzle, Jeff?
Well, having been associated with Tom in his previous company, I know Tom is passionate about the products that he makes, and that they're so powerful and efficacious, and I'm feeling so much better. I'm 73 next month and looking forward to a lot more years, thanks to products like the age pill, and started with TSX as well about a month or so ago, and I can see how that's helping. Sizzle really, or the age pill, came in right at the right time, because at my age you can notice things happening. So now that's reversed that, and I have so much more energy, and with TSX, Tom, I listened to him speak here in Brisbane, and he pointed out what I knew about it. But anyway, TSX is really, really very important from his comments, and what it does with the two. You've got pretty powerful products to keep your health, fitness. So
yeah. So what would you say your vision is for Sizzle?
Well, I'd like to be able to bring more people in and point out to them how what the products have done for me, and what the business part of it can do for them as well, because government certainly doesn't want to know about you. So that's my vision on looking forward. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, thank you for that, Jeff. We will hand it back to Kurt.
All right. Well, thanks, Paul and Sandy. Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate that. And so now what I'd like to do is I'm going to run out to a friend of mine out in California, and Pat and I got to be friends at one of the first at one of the first Sizzle meetings that I went to. And Pat lives down in beautiful California, and his wife and his son, they've been on all the excursions. When I went on the cruise, they were on the cruise, And he works full time. Right now, I know just based on when he answered the phone when he got on, he's sitting on a big rig. He's on a crane right now working. And Pat, he'll tell you that the Mauer mission isn't just the Mauer mission. It's Pat Garrett's mission. And he's going to do, I know based on what he's told me, he's going to do whatever it takes to make it work. And it's not always easy in the States to build. A lot of people here in the States, they've got this entitlement mentality. They're not willing to give it a real go. But Pat, if you just share a little bit, why Sizzle for you? I've got you unmuted there. So.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. And I mean, it's an honor to speak to people, oceans away, and knowing that, we all share a common goal. And that common goal is actually health and wellness and actually living longer. And I haven't met too many people, Kurt, that once you really talk to them, that don't want to live a little bit longer and don't want to actually have a better quality of life. But it didn't always start out that way for me. When I found Sizzle, it kind of found me. It's kind of hard to talk about it because I was in a really bad place. Back in 2009, in March, I got injured on a job. I was only working about 1 day a week back then. It was, the economy was really bad. I got injured on the job, didn't know what I was going to do. I got back to my car and found out that my parents had been in a real bad accident. I lost my mom in the accident. My dad was dying in the hospital, and I had to drop everything and go to be with my father. And over the next 11 weeks, I stayed with him in ICU and watched him fight MRSA, and he lost the battle. And during that process, I gained like 35 pounds. And my health just went to pot. I mean, I could not, I had to fight the doctors to keep me off all the medications. And I just told them, give me a chance. Just give me a chance. Don't put me on all these pharmaceuticals. I just don't want to go on them. And I was really praying for something to show up, Kurt. I was really praying for something. I didn't know what it was going to be. But when Sizzle showed up, I got on the Pavoidin product. And within 3 weeks, all the pain in my shoulder that they were going to do arthroscopic surgery for was gone. I was able to start using my shoulder again like a normal person. And shortly after that, I talked my wife into getting on the product. Now, my wife was on 11 different medications for fibromyalgia. And I honestly, and she'll tell you this herself, I really didn't have a wife back then, more like a zombie. And that's where a lot of people are right now. They're just being overprescribed pharmaceuticals, and it's killing their liver, it's killing their brains, it's killing everything. Kurt, when I got her off all those medications, we started dreaming again. We started saying, you know what, this is possible with Sizzle to do this, to actually go out and help a bunch of people, and in the process help ourselves, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to go out and help a bunch of people get what they want, and you get a little bit. In the process, we've won 4 major trips. We've always ranked one of the highest in Sizzle. I don't even know how. I think it's just because we're busy. We're so passionate about helping people. And you know what? When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I look at the team I'm working with, and we're one big family, and we really, really, really do want to help other people. And I really think that's what it takes in network marketing. I think you need a big heart. You got to be a person that's a giver, to give it away day in, day out when you don't feel like it, to give it away when you're tired, to give it away when you don't think it can take another step. And you give it away, and you know what happens, Kurt? Success happens to people. They start to see the kind of results you're having. They start to dream again. And when you get around a bunch of dreamers, the people that are seeing things happen, you know what? That is a great thing because we're going to make the world a better place like that. And you know, Kurt, I'm really kind of emotional right now because I get to go meet a couple of my friends I haven't seen in 20 years today, and
Wow.
I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, what in the heck are you doing? And I'm going to get to share with them, and I'm going to tell them the passion they have, even about the age field, to say, you know what? Why don't you get on this? Because I got a lot of fun I still want to have with you guys. You know, so Kurt, you know what? You're talking about Huntington Beach. I'll be there in about an hour and a half, and just enjoying some good friendship with some friends I hadn't seen in a long, long time. But I can tell you, you know what? Sizzle works if you work it. Sizzle works if you take the product. Sizzle just plain works if you want to build a future, a legacy with people that want to actually spend the rest of their life on the beaches of the world together. And you know what? It's happening. It's a dream come true for me. First of all, to get back to my health. Second of all, to take care of, start to managing my wealth. And you know what? Along the way, when you get to go to places like Mauer Mountain, oh my gosh, you find happiness. So, hey, from me to you, thanks so much for all you do. And I want to actually send out a special thank you, Kurt, because after talking to you at Mauer Mountain, after talking to you, brother, I've started to flush some toxic relationships that I've been wasting a lot of time with. You know what? And I would suggest everybody do the same thing. If you've got some toxic relationships, people that what they do, they suck the lifeblood out of you. You know what?
They do.
Sometimes even if it's a family member, I would say if you really want to pursue this business, you know what? Give it a rest for a little while with some of these toxic people and just go out and love on other people, and you're going to see the most success you've ever seen in your life. So back to you, Kurt. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Pat. I really appreciate it, and thanks for taking time out of your day. I appreciate it. So, you know, folks, one of the things that I hear from people is there's a common theme that sometimes when you don't even know the timing is going to be right, and when you're out talking to other people, the timing might not be right for them, but don't give up on people. Don't give up on it because, you know, sometimes when the timing's right, Sizzle offers what they're looking for, and they may not even know it. You know, let's go back down to Australia and reach out to Leanne. So Leanne has been an RN for 41 years. She's been working in all areas of the hospital and really helped out with a lot of people and in different things. And she realized how toxic the world's become and really decided to get involved with Sizzle to help people live a happier, healthier, and a pain-free life. And isn't that the Mauer mission? Isn't that really what your mission is? And so, Leanne, I don't know which number is yours on here. So if you would hit *6 and unmute yourself and jump on the call with us here, I'd sure appreciate that. *6.
Hi.
Hi, Leanne.
Hi,
Welcome
can
to
you
the
hear
call. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking.
Hi. Well, I used to be in New Ways years and years ago, so I know the integrity and the quality of Tom's products. And when I came across an old friend from New Ways who told me about Sizzle, I was really, really excited to get involved with it again. As you said, I've been a nurse for 42 years. I've raised 4 children, mostly by myself, and worked really, really hard. I've seen a lot of what pharmaceuticals can do to people, even with my own mother who was on prednisolone and methotrexate for years, and it's really destroyed her bone structure and made her age so much faster than what she should have. I work in an aged care facility as well as working on the phones as a triage nurse. So I hear a lot of things and see a lot of things these days with the dissatisfaction that people have with treatment from the medical fraternity these days. They don't know how to treat conditions. They just know how to cover up symptoms and let people take drugs, and then they have more side effects from the drugs, so they give them more drugs to counteract those side effects, and it's just a cascading problem. So I am really excited to get involved with this and try and help people to avoid medications, but to manage their health in a more natural, healthy way, and to be able to live longer, healthier lives, and not just, deteriorate into crumbling messes and end up in nursing homes. Sizzle's given me that platform that I can do that, and with the integrity that Tom has with his products, it's not a hard thing to actually to share, because when you know something's works, when you know it's true, well, it's easy to speak the truth to people and let them know. So I had a car accident not so long ago, and going back to my job as a nurse in an aged care facility, I haven't been able to do that as yet because I still can't do a lot of physical work, but I have gone back to my phone triage nursing job. But with Sizzle, I can continue on working with that. My injuries don't impact on my business that way. I can still partake in that on a daily basis, which is fantastic. That, to have something that you can still work out despite what is actually happening in your life. And it also gives you a sense of control over your life when you have something like Sizzle on a day-to-day basis, because that sort of autonomous feeling gives you motivation to go out and help people, to go out and, to get up every day and to work, because you're doing something not only for yourself and for your family, but actually going out and you're helping other people as well. So I just want to work really hard. It's not an overnight thing, this business. MLM is not overnight. It's hard work, it's commitment. But when you have such magnificent products, it is worth every single moment that you put into it. And in the long term, I just know I'll be living a long, healthy life, and my children will be as well, because they are taking the products as well. There's one story I just want to share with you about my brother, who's a type 1 diabetic, and after being on just the AGE pill for a week, my sister-in-law noticed an enormous difference in him, with his skin and his moods during the day. And then after about 3 weeks, he was getting feeling back in his feet. He's got peripheral neuropathy because of the diabetes, but all that feeling's coming back in his feet, and he is feeling so much better. So yeah, great products. Thanks, Kurt.
Well, Leanne, thank you. It's so fun to hear from a healthcare professional that sees the value in the products, because, people they look to you for answers, and it helps build trust in what you're doing. So make sure and share that with other people. And I'm sure that the people around you are gonna contact you, Leanne, and say, hey, can you tell us your story one more time? So thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This morning I was on Facebook and I read something, and I wanted to just repeat it because I think it's such a powerful thing. It was written by a millennial, and think about this. This is what this millennial wrote. She wrote, "Life is just a joke, a kind of expression of the feeling of powerlessness and dread. As a generation, we're crippled by student loans. We can't buy a house because the market's just a catastrophe. We're trapped in a meaningless job. We're exploited by large corporations, and retirement is just a fantasy. The culture is a wasteland of movie remakes and society that's selling us back our childhood. We're being spied upon by everybody, everywhere. And we just live this isolated life." And I thought, as I was reading that, how would that be to be your outlook on life as a 20-something-year-old? What future are you giving yourself when that's what you see? You know, people, I'll tell you what, they need what we got. We've got the answer to it. We've got the answer to help them. They can help other people find their life. And in doing so, maybe they can find their own. And that just really hit me this morning. And I apologize. I'm getting a tear in my eye just thinking about it. But, you know, it really is something when you know, people have that look on life. Let's go to my friend Cindy up here in North Dakota. Cindy, I know, you know, you're just really getting started in Sizzle. You've actually been in and out of Sizzle a couple times now, and I know you've got a couple of kids and you're trying to help them find their lives. You're kind of rebuild yours at the same time. You know, give us a little picture of where you're going. What's your plans? What's your future for what you're doing? And why are you here? Why you're with us in Sizzle?
Just a little bit of background. I met Kurt about 7 years ago. At the time, my daughter had been diagnosed with central auditory processing disorder, over-the-top ADHD, vision problems. We were in the midst of vision therapy. Since then, she has been put on the autism spectrum. We started her on Brain Vitality, and the difference that it has made in that young lady is awesome. When Kurt first met her, she would not make eye contact. She would not talk to anybody. Now it's, Mom, when am I going to see Dr. Kurt? I also have a 19-year-old son with mental health issues, and the drugs that they have tried on him and the different prescriptions, it's just amazing as to what they will pump into a human body to try and control something that they don't understand. My mother has had heart problems all her life. I want to get her on the AGE pill, which I just started taking recently. I already have noticed an increase in energy, an increase in mind clarity. I can remember things that normally would have just slipped away. And where I want to go with this is I want to help other people. There are a lot of people that are dissatisfied with the healthcare system, simply because a lot of times you have to make your own diagnoses. And if I have to do that, I'm not going to pay somebody $150 an hour to do it. So my main goal is to get these products that are so stupendously awesome out there as to help other people. Kurt and I both knew a lady named Annie that had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She had been given 6 months. Kurt got her on Sizzle, and she had 4.5 years plus the 6 months. So she ended up living 5 years longer than what they gave her. You can't argue with products like that. My father died of pancreatic cancer, and I wish I had known about Sizzle when he had it. It's just, the products are awesome. They do a wonderful job. My daughter is now 15. She carries on conversations. She makes eye contact. Everybody is a friend to her, whereas before it was a pretty scary world for her. I am really, really impressed with the products, and if I can help other people and make their lives a little easier, then I've done what I've set out to do. And if building a business is a bonus for that, that's great. And I am a teacher, by the way, so I see a lot of these problems with students all the time. So if I can help others alleviate some of those problems, that's what I'm after.
You bet. Well, Cindy, I know you're going to go a long way with it just because of your passion and your desire to help other people. So thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing your story with everyone. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You know, again, you start to see a common thread amongst the people that are with us. You start to see a common thread amongst the people that are in Sizzle, and kind of what I want to do now is I want to really, we'll end the call with this last testimonial, with this last vision. Dr. Ron and I, we've just most recently met in the last couple of weeks. Doc is out in Ohio, and he's a scientist. He teaches at the college. He really understands the background of the products. You know, the other day we were talking, and he says, "Hey Doc," he says, "I need to know this and this and this, and I've got friends of mine that they're biochemists, and they need to know this." And it's really fun to work with people that truly understand that. But when you're talking about helping people, most people, they hated chemistry in high school. They hated it. So Doc, you and I were part of that group of nerds, you know, that in high school, you know, we were the ones that went to those classes and we learned it. But yeah, most of our friends, you know, they couldn't give a crap less about you know, double covalent bonds and you know, the hydroxyl groups and these types of things, right? And so Doc, I know you've got a passion for helping people. And so I'm going to hand the microphone over to you and just, you know, kind of give us a vision where you're going, what you're planning on doing, and all the people that you're planning on helping with what you're doing here. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, I've been practicing in Northeast Ohio about 30 years. I've been using a lot of nutrition in my office over those 30 years. If there was anything new, I'm always scouring the research, PubMed, I mean, you name it, for anything new that works. I've taught as a professor at our local university. So, you know, I've always tried to keep up with this type of thing. And more recently, about just a month or two ago, I had a patient in the office, and she's just a beautiful lady. She's in her late 70s and just a picture of health. And she has sent me referrals, other patients, and we're working on her. She had a hip replacement. We're working on her getting her walking straight. But just a picture of youth for her age. You know, people compliment her all the time. And she's also a Christian prayer warrior. And I'm not sure, I usually don't talk to patients like this, but I knew that, you know, that she was a Christian. And I ran into some statistics. Our area of the country, Northeast Ohio, and West Virginia specifically, have a real opioid problem, I believe one of the worst in the country. And I ran into a statistic, the county just north of us, I saw there was 386 overdoses, and that was, you know, that was a statistic from last year. And I figured that's terrible, you know, for the year of 2017, 386 overdoses. Well, as I read further, it wasn't for 1 month. It was, I'm sorry, it wasn't for 1 year. It was for 1 month. And, you know, and if you, for the year, it was, you know, thousands. And we have a tremendous opioid problem. So that day when she was in, I said, you know, would you pray for our practice that God would give us a tool to try to overcome the opioid addiction? Families, I mean, are just getting destroyed in our areas. I don't know how it is in your area, but we're just seeing, you know, young people dying. It's just gotten to an epidemic proportion. So I just, off the cuff, I said, would you just pray that, you know, God would give me, you know, some powerful tools to overcome this opioid, you know, epidemic? And she said, you know, why don't we just pray right now? She said, how, you know, we don't need, you know, we shouldn't wait. I thought she would just pray on her own. You know, I just kind of set it off the cuff. Well, she started praying. I said, okay, you know, so she started praying right in the office. And I wasn't prepared for that, but it was extremely powerful. And this lady is a true believer, and she just prayed, you know, a very powerful prayer that, you know, that God would give us some tools. Now, it's interesting, right? It was so powerful, I actually wrote it on my calendar, which it was just a very unusual, you know, visit. You know, I've never had a visit like that with any patient. Well, anyway, shortly after that, I had already started getting a knee problem, and my knee was swelling up. You know, I went to see the orthopedic surgeon, a buddy of mine, and I was getting some swelling in my knee. And he said, you know, you're pretty healthy. Let's wait a month and let's see what happens. Well, I ended up going on vacation in June, And we rented a beach house, and there was all these steps, going up and down because the house was on stilts. And I was the guy that carries all the luggage. So by the end of the vacation, my knee had all blown up, and I could barely walk. I came back and went back to the orthopedic surgeon. We got an MRI, and I had a torn meniscus, and it was flipped over itself, making this big clunk sound, and it definitely had to be taken out quickly. So I had arthroscopic surgery pretty quickly, and I've been recovering in the month of July, which is unusual for me. I'm very active, so I was sitting around, and as I was sitting around, and by the way, the thing I didn't tell you, right after she prayed, almost immediately, the day after, a few days afterwards, stem cells just came up everywhere, and NAD came up, and stem cells. So I'm recovering. Fast forward, I'm recovering from this surgery, and I had a little extra time, a little downtime, and I talked to Dr. Kim Schunkweiler over in Michigan, one of your friends, Kurt, and I talked to you, Kurt, and you guys were very gracious, about the product, about the NAD and the NR, and explained all of this. Took a lot of time answering all my questions. I really appreciate all the time you took. But to make a long story short, I've been taking the product, the H pill, for the last I started in July, and I went back for my checkup. I'm going to say about a week and a half ago, and that was like a 3-week checkup or a 4-week checkup after the surgery. They said they have not seen anyone that is as advanced as I am after having the type of surgery that I had. And as a matter of fact, they used stem cells. They injected stem cells during the surgery, and which was interesting because everything was coming up stem cells and NAD. I actually taught NAD, and NAD, for I'm sure your other members are aware of, it is actually the spark plug in the biochemical process. Without NAD, you cannot make ATP, which is the energy molecule. So extremely important, and as we get older, no question, it goes down. So I've been adding this to my repertoire. They put stem cells in my knee during the surgery, my own stem cells, and all I can tell you is I am very thankful today. I can go up steps. I feel like I can run. I'm not pushing it, but they tell me for 4 weeks out of surgery that I am way advanced. They have not seen that. The orthopedic surgeon, the physical therapist have all said that we have not seen this with the type of surgery you have, and they have me on treadmill, doing steps, all kinds of things. And one lady asked me why I was in there because another patient, she said, and I said, well, I had surgery, and she said, well, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with you. And I said, well, thank you, but I just wanted to share that, and I can tell you NAD, stem cells, is the medicine of the future. I love it because I'm non-drug. I don't like the toxic side effects. All drugs are toxic. So this goes right along with my, with my philosophy for 30 years. And I just want to thank you, Kurt and Kim Schunkweiler. You guys have been extremely good, taking time and, talking about the product, getting back to me. And you guys are true blue, and I really appreciate it. So I look forward to working with you guys and growing in this company. I think, Dr. Maurer is a genius in biochemistry. So I will hand it back to you, Kurt.
All right. Well, thanks, Doc. I really appreciate it. And, if you hear what he's saying, he was looking for something. He opened up his mind, and all of a sudden, there it was. Sizzle came to him, after asking for it. So, Dr. Ron, thanks for sharing with us.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you. You guys have been great.
It's just past the bottom of the hour, and I hope that everybody's gotten a little bit out of this and enjoyed the different stories. I'm going to hand the microphone over to one of my business partners over to Katie. And Katie, I know you didn't expect me to hand it over to you, so you don't have anything prepared. But, Katie, if you want, why don't you share a little bit about your story, your passion, why you're here in Sizzle? And then if you want, why don't you go ahead and close the call out for us?
Okay, great. Thanks, Kurt. So I guess a bit about myself and my story. I discovered Tom Mauer because I was looking for solutions to my father's problem. This is going back quite some time. He was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 54, which was pretty devastating for the family. And to me, really just didn't make sense why that would happen to someone so young, but there must be a fairly logical reason as to what was going on. So at that point in time, I started searching and seeking answers. I came across Tom Mauer and the products that he had or has produced. And so that's how I got involved. But after I had been using them for a while, like everyone else, the products are just so incredible and you get such amazing results with them that are really life-changing that it's hard to not share them with others. So once you start doing that, of course, well, then the bonus to that is you can create a business out of it and earn an income. And what a better way to earn an income, sharing something you're passionate about, something that can change people's lives, as opposed to, you know, going to, well, for me, a day job that certainly doesn't fulfill any of those needs. So I guess that's just a bit about my background. I'm really excited to be part of Sizzle. I'm super excited for the future. It's absolutely thrilling to see the people coming on board, sharing their stories and how it's changing their lives and how they're affecting and changing the lives of others. And so I guess just in closing, I'd like to say that your stories really are the most important part of our business. And listening and sharing stories is really a powerful way to share messages and communicate with others. People love to connect with you through your challenges and what's been bothering you and what you've been doing to overcome the challenge. So on that note, I want to wish you a fantastic weekend. Thanks for joining us today or this evening, and we hope that you'll join us again. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, Katie.